Hello everyone, my name is Jay and this is a short introduction about Autobrr. We will be covering why do we need Autobrr in the first place, how to set it up, and how to configure it so it can help us the best way. To start with, it's an alternative to autodl-irssi. I'm not going to detail on what it is. It's basically a plugin which is specific for rTorrent, if I'm correct. But this is a modern solution to it. It can work with any client, any download client, any torrent client, and it supports, I think, the same amount of trackers that the plugin itself was supporting. To start with, why do we need it? Let's take a look at this chart. So I'm assuming you already know about what radar, sonar, and RSS is. At least radar and sonar. If not RSS, that's fine. So basically what it does is that it checks your trackers on a periodic basis. So let's assume it's 5 minutes. I'm not sure what the exact amount is, but let's say it's 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes, it'll check what are the new torrents available. And out of all those new torrents, is there any existing torrent that I care about, that I want to download, So in a way, every 5 minutes, it will react to the new torrents. As you can see here, these are the tools that I'm talking about. RSS works the same way. And this is the interval. And these are the relays that these three care about, or in general, we as a user, we care about them. Now, this torrent was available at this time, as you can see on the y-axis, and it will be recognized by any of this software, any of this app at this point in time. Now, this may be 2-minute delay, 3-minute delay, it could be 4-minute delay as well. And same thing happens here, but we are lucky here, it might be just 1 minute, and we are unlucky here, it most probably is 4 minutes. So you see, we are losing some time to when the download actually starts. Now, usually this is not a big problem. Like, what's the problem if it starts 1 minute or 5 minutes afterwards, right? No, when you're talking about private trackers, then you care a lot about how much ratio that you're maintaining, how much uploading you are actually doing to the trackers, and when you are just 5 minutes late, or when you are even just 1 minute late, it might affect your ratio significantly. So by the time you start downloading, there are already 90% seeders. They already finished the download, and you are just now downloading from them. You're not going to be a good seeder because, well, you're late. So this is sort of issue with this 3, and that's where the Autobrr comes into the picture. It implements IRC channels. In a way, you can imagine it as any communication channel, like you use WhatsApp or messaging, any messenger that you can think of. It's basically a live connection between each client with server, definitely. But as soon as a message is sent, you immediately receive it on your messenger, right? When you open the app, you immediately get a notification. The connection is always there. Now, how it's implemented, that I don't know. I'm not the expert there, but this is how it works. So I'm just highlighting that. So Autobrr is based on IRC here. It's a protocol on how the communication is handled. As soon as you get this release, the server itself will publish it to all the clients. So what you have to do is you have to register your client to the IRC server so that you can get notified. Now, whenever the server publishes to all the clients, you get instant notification. Autobrr recognizes this and directly adds this to a client, your download client. It can be rTorrent, it can be any another torrent client, right? So now there is no delay. There is like maybe some microsecond delay, and you immediately start downloading. If you start downloading early, you finish the download early, and then you seed early. So in a way, this is sort of a race, and you are very ahead of the race basically. And then now you'll be able to seed way more, way better, and then your ratio will be way better. Also, one cool feature about Autobrr is that it's not only integrated with the torrent clients, but it also is integrated with radar and sonar. So let's say when you get a new torrent, right here, there's three torrents. Autobrr will directly push them to sonar and radar so that they can identify and filter out the torrents that they need versus which they don't need. This saves us from configuring like huge complex filters in Autobrr. It really simplifies the configuration very much. Okay, so the next step is to set up Autobrr in our environment. For that purpose, I am going to fully use the documentation, which has really good amount of details. Clicking on get started, we have multiple ways we can install. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm just going to follow the one that I used, which is Docker. I have all the services running through Docker Compose. So for me, it's really easy to just add this to my Compose file and directly start the container. So here is what you can see I have used. I additionally added the IDs here, the group ID and the user ID. And yeah, this is really not required, so you can feel free to skip that and use the latest version. Once that is done, do Docker Compose up and the Autobrr should be up and running. This is the instance that you'd get. You'd have to register first. So the first step is to go and add a username, add a password, and once you register, you'll be able to log in and see something like this. For you, it would be empty, of course. This is a configured setup. Now we would like to see it working, right? So we would need to have it configured with the IRC channels. So next step is to check that, to add the IRC channels. Here in Quick Start, we have a full list of steps that we need to perform. We already completed the first one, install Autobrr. It's up and running. Now, I am assuming that you already created the user as well. The next step here, first we need some sort of client through which we would be able to register our user to the servers. So we will be using, from this folder, you'll be using the Lounge. Again, the reason being that my server, I don't have a screen attached to it. So I was looking for a web-based solution, and the Lounge works really well for me. So if you can see here, the Lounge, if you open the Lounge documentation, you'll be able to find something like this. I just copy pasted it here, again did Docker Compose up, and it's up and running. It would look something like this. So it has a similar interface to Slack or Discord, where you can connect to a server, and then in the server you would have multiple channels. In those channels you actually send and receive messages. So very similar interface. Here this next step is to add the tracker channel, tracker server itself. For that purpose, you'd need some information like this. So for example, the server host name, the password itself. So for those two, let's focus first on the server part. What I did was I actually added a new, and then whatever, let's say I wanted to add torrent ledge, For that purpose, I got the RSS key from the torrent lich, and I added a dummy value to nick, account and password, any dummy value. It doesn't have to be right now. And I clicked on save. Once I clicked on save, I went to the IRC, and here I could see the server which it was trying to reach to. So I could easily find the server hostname from here. Also, it already knows which channel to look for. So I also found the channel here. So instead of Googling, which channel should I use for this tracker or that tracker, I directly used this. Although it was of course not working because I never created the account there. But it's fine. We just got these two values, which is important for us right now. And I used that here in server as well as the channel. Now for password, you would get the password from your tracker. It would be some sort of API key or some token that you would need for the IRC. You would find it in settings page or your user page. It really depends on the tracker, so I'm not going to heavily focus on that, but you would need to find the token for this. Once this is done, you need some nickname. Now this is a new nickname. So nothing existence, like you just need to create a new one. So let's say random user 113, and then I'm going same for username, real name doesn't matter, and the channel that we saw in Autobrr. So once this is done, you click on connect. For now, I'm using an open channel. I'm not going to use any tracker channels. Let it connect to the server. It might take some time. Okay, we are here. Now the next step, let's see what the next step is. Go back to quick start. We want to register our nick. And for that purpose, we need to perform this command. Let's copy this and paste it here. Password is password for right now, and then abc@gmail.com. Let's make it unique because there can be people using it. I'm not sure. This should be good. Okay, enter. So this registers this nickname to the server so that you can reuse this everywhere you go. Now it would be suggested to use this 3-step as well, but I'm going to skip them for now. What I'm going to do instead is just copy these values and just disconnect from here. Disconnect. Okay. And let's head back to Autobrr, and here now you want to delete your old indexer that you created with dummy value. Just delete that, add a new one, and now provide the values which we created over there. So for example, for lich, provide the values nick, account and password which you did. So for me, since I was using an open channel, I'll not be able to find any trackers for that. Let me just go to IRC and try to add one. If that's possible, just open channel. The server name was, let me add 6697. I hope this works. There was no password. I was using random user, and then password was password without any commands. Okay, let's try. Now once you add your indexer here, go to the IRC. It would have a new IRC created here. It might take some time to connect. For you, it should be fairly straightforward because you are adding an indexer as a tracker directly. For me, I'm adding a custom thing, so I'm not sure if this would work out or not. I'm doing this for the first time anyway, so let's see. Let's give it some time. Oh, I didn't add any channels, did I? My bad. Okay, add a channel. Let's add a channel. The launch. That should be good. Yep, the launch channel. Oh, I need to add a hash there, I think. Otherwise it wouldn't work. Hash. Okay. Let's give it some time. Okay, it's connected. So for you as well, it should be more straightforward than me. For me, it's connected now. So you are good to go. The IRC is connected. Now the next step, let's see what the next step could be in the quick start. So we registered the bot. I skipped this step. Sorry about that. I'm not I don't have experience about that, so I'm going to skip that. We also added the indexer. Now the next step is to add a client, which is again very straightforward thing. Go to settings, go to clients, and add your client. Now, as you can see, it can be three things. First, it can be your torrent client. So there are this many options. And then there also, you can add radar, sonar, lidar. So basically ARR servers you can directly add. What it will do is, instead of adding this torrent directly to the torrent client, which will immediately start downloading, you want to have some sort of filter. So out of, let's say, thousands of movies, you only want the ones which you want to watch. And radar has that track, right? It tracks which movies you want to download. So if you forward your movies of 1,000 movies directly to radar, it'll filter out very easily. It'll maybe filter out just the 10 movies that you want, and all the other movies will be discarded. So it's really good way to filter out things, to directly forward it to sonar and radar, rather than manually creating each and every filters, which is going to be very tedious. Again, setting up should be fairly straightforward. I'm sure you already have idea about this, because radar, sonar, and those things are already configured for you, so I'm not going to cover this part. Let's see what the next step is. Next step is to add a filter. So for that purpose, I'm going to go to filters. Now this can be up to your use case. For me, I wanted to redirect all movies and shows to radar and sonar. Apart from that, I also wanted to gain some good ratio. So for that purpose, I'm filtering free leech. So let's go by one actually. What this do is just selecting the indexers here. Some sort of rules that you want to provide here, it's really up to you. I'm not going to comment. You can provide the movies, the music here, but again, for my purpose, since I'm already forwarding this to radar, I don't need to mention anything. I'm not going to filter out anything. I'm just going to let radar decide for itself. So I just went to advanced, matched this dot star, which is like match everything. I enabled regex. Well, I don't want this stuff and it's going to be a lot of torrents for this, so I just filtered it out completely, and you can add more filters as well as you like. In the action, add new action, and then add, for example, radar or sonar here. So once this filtering is done, it will directly forward the things to radar and sonar, because both of them are enabled right now. So this is one use case. This is another use case where I wanted to have, let's say, a free leech. So I only want to forward free leech directly to torrent clients. So every day download, how many? 3. Every day download 3 torrents which are free leech, so I get my ratio better. So that is again a use case, and it really depends on you how you want to configure it. Once the filtering is done, you can say the whole setup is good to go. I don't think we have. Yep, that's all. So once that is done, you can go to the dashboard and you can see things moving. Here you'd be able to see these are the torrents which are received from IRC channels. It's not an interval, it's like it's immediate thing, right, as we already saw. So based on this, it directly sends this to radar and sonar. So this is sonar, this is radar, and then they can reject because they don't want lady in the lake, so they'll reject it from here. But these are the approved ones. So for example, I wanted to see Cobra Kai, so that is good to go. This is again for free leech, so free leech thing is good to go. Cedar for IP torrents, which is again a free leech. I just want to increase my ratio. So yeah, this thing is good. Logs should contain the logs here, so you'd be able to troubleshoot if anything goes wrong. And what else? Yeah, pretty much covered everything. Now, I just wanted to say a few things about Autobrr. It is really significant thing when you are in a private trackers. It has significantly increased my ratio as well. Since I'm usually the first in the race, I get I get to be the seeders for a lot of leech, right? So it really helps a lot. A good thing about this is that it has amazing amount of documentation, and it's really simple to follow. As you can see, it's like step by step, everything is there. And even if you face any issues, there is a Discord server, so you can always log into the server and reach out, and the owner and the maintainers are really helpful there. So try it for yourself. It's really useful. It's really going to help your private tracker journey. Yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.